What if one of horror's most iconic villains finally came to Dead by Daylight? I'm talking about Pennywise from It. Before we get into it, I do want to give credit where it's due. This idea actually came from someone in my friend group while we were talking about killers and survivors we'd love to see added to the game. I'm going to keep them anonymous, but I do want to make it clear that the original idea wasn't mine. I just started expanding on it and thinking about what a full Dead by Daylight chapter could look like, and honestly, I think it could be one of the coolest licensed chapters the game has ever had. Now, none of this is official, this is just a fan concept, and me sharing what I think could be an amazing chapter. Think about it. Pennywise isn't just another horror villain. He doesn't rely on brute strength, he hunts, he manipulates, he plays mind games, he feeds on fear before he ever attacks. That style of horror fits Dead by Daylight almost perfectly. Half the game is psychological pressure, and that's exactly what Pennywise is known for. One idea I thought would be really interesting is making his power revolve around his iconic red balloons. Imagine repairing a generator and noticing a single red balloon floating in the distance. At first, you don't think much of it. Then seconds later, Pennywise appears right where that balloon was. The balloon could act like teleport locations that Pennywise could place around the map, allowing him to quickly move between different areas and keep survivors constantly guessing. Another idea could involve Georgie's paper boat. Maybe Pennywise could send a paper boat drifting along certain paths, or through puddles before emerging nearby. It's creepy, it's recognizable, and it would immediately remind fans of one of the most iconic scenes from It. Even if only one of these mechanics made it into the game, I think it'd feel unique. One thing I'd absolutely love is if Pennywise had voice lines. Imagine you're working on a generator, everything seems quiet, and then suddenly you hear, "Hey Georgie." I'd probably panic immediately. Or maybe when he hooks a survivor, "We all float down here." Those little details are what makes licensed killers feel authentic. For the survivor side of the chapter, I actually think the adult versions of the Losers Club would make the most sense. Seeing them return to face Pennywise one last time would fit the lore really well. They could even have multiple legendary skins so fans could play as the different members of the group. Speaking of cosmetics, there's so much potential. Imagine a survivor's cosmetic inspired by Georgie's iconic yellow raincoat, or different versions of Pennywise pulled from different moments in the film. You could even have charms based on the paper boat, the red balloon, or other memorable symbols from It. Now let's talk about the map, because I think this chapter deserves one. Instead of just giving us another town map, imagine if Behaviour leaned into what makes It so memorable. Picture a map that's split between the streets of Derry and the underground sewer system. On the surface, you'd have the quiet neighborhoods, storm drains, and the iconic house where Pennywise lurks. Then scattered throughout the map, there could be multiple entrances leading down into the sewers, just like we've seen throughout the movies and the original TV adaptation. The sewers could become a maze of dark tunnels, flooded pathways, and narrow corridors, making every chase feel tense because you never know what's waiting around the next corner. The iconic house could even act as one of the main landmarks. Survivors could enter through the front door, explore the decaying rooms, and eventually make their way into the basement. This is where the old well could serve as another entrance into the sewer network below. I think that combination of surface streets and underground tunnels would make for one of the most atmospheric maps Dead by Daylight has ever had. And then there's the Mori. If Pennywise ever came to Dead by Daylight, his Mori would have to be unforgettable. Imagine Pennywise slowly walking towards a downed survivor with that unsettling smile before they begin seeing the eerie deadlights. The survivor freezes in fear as Pennywise closes in, and the screen fills with that terrifying glow before the Mori finishes. It would perfectly capture what makes Pennywise so terrifying. Not just the physical attack, but the overwhelming fear he creates before striking. A Mori inspired by that moment would instantly become one of the most memorable finishers in the game. And hey, Behaviour, if anyone on the dev team somehow ends up watching this, I think this chapter practically writes itself. Pennywise already has the horror. He already has the personality. He already has iconic abilities, memorable locations, recognizable voice lines, and survivors that fans already care about. This feels like one of those crossovers that just makes sense. Overall, I think Pennywise would be an incredible addition to Dead by Daylight. A unique killer power, amazing cosmetics, an unforgettable map, great survivor possibilities, and some of the most recognizable horror moments ever put into a game. Again, full credit to the person in my friend group who first brought up the idea. The original concept wasn't mine. I just had a lot of fun imagining what a complete chapter could look like. Now I want to hear from all of you. Would you want Pennywise to come to Dead by Daylight? What would you make his killer power? Who would you pick as these survivors? And if not Pennywise, what horror icon do you think deserves to be added next? If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and if you're new, I'll catch you guys in the next one. We all float down here.